On this episode of the Whiskey Tornado, I give you guys my top 5 bourbons for your $100 beginner bourbon collection. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Tornado. I'm your host, Lance. Today, we have an episode for our beginner drinkers. This channel is about to hit 5,000 subscribers, and I think I don't do enough of these videos for the people who are just finding this channel and just getting into bourbon. So today is a top 5 list. It is the top 5 bourbons I would recommend for your beginner bourbon collection. And this collection you can buy for around $100. Now, when I was thinking about putting this list together, I was trying to figure out what advice would I love to have had when I started my bourbon collection. And I think the number one priority I would have had when I just started out was learning to train my palate. So there's 3 things I want to accomplish in this list. Number 1, it has to be affordable. Number 2, it has to be available. And number 3, these 5 bourbons have to be an exploration of mash bills and distilleries. So with all that being said, we're going to get to our top 5 bourbons in just a second. But before that, I want to give you 2 bonus bottles I would get that aren't bourbons, but are really going to help you guys train your palates. So one of the first 2 bonus bottles that I think every beginner has to have in their collection isn't a bourbon yet, but it is White Dog. It is the distillate right as it comes off of the still. I think it's so important as a beginner bourbon drinker to know what young distillate tastes like, so you can pick up those youthful notes in bourbons as you go forward. You can tell whether it's aged or not. This is coming right off the still, fresh distillate that has not had any of those oak flavors imparted on it. So none of the caramels and vanillas and those brown sugar notes. This is just the distillate, and I think it's a really good starting point for you to really see how those oak barrels change the distillate over time. All right, and the second bonus bottle I think every beginner bourbon drinker needs in their collection is Mellow Corn. This is from Heaven and Hill. This is bottled in bond. And what's really interesting about this is it is 100% corn whiskey, and it's actually not that bad. It's pretty good. The label's horrible, the bottling's horrible, the marketing's horrible around it, but it's really good to taste what a bottled and bond corn whiskey tastes like, so you can pick up those corn notes in bourbon as you go forward, because as most of you know, and some of you may not know, in order for it to be considered bourbon, it has to be at least 51% corn, so you're going to pick up a lot of those notes in the bourbon. All right, so after you've tasted your White Dog, after you've tasted your corn whiskey, now we can get into our top 5 bourbons for a bourbon beginner collection for under $100. And one of my favorite bottles that comes in around $20 is also a bottle from Heaven Hill, and it is Evan Williams 1783. I think this one is perfect because it's got some age on it. It's 90 proof, so it's going to be a little bit easier to drink. It's got really nice flavors of brown sugar, some nuttiness in there, and it's super crushable, but it has some aged whiskey in here. I think some of the older whiskey in this bottle is up to 8 years, so really good example of how good a bourbon can be. And this is just one of the best value bourbons out there at the moment. And the really cool thing will be, if you follow my advice and get Mellow Corn, you're going to pick up a lot of that Mellow Corn from the same distillery in 1783. You're going to get a lot of those same characteristics. All right, moving on to our second bottle of our top 5 bottles in a beginner bourbon collection for under $100. And you've got to have some Buffalo Trace in your collection. Now, this stuff is getting harder and harder to find, but I can still find this. I bought this bottle at Meijer for $21. Just Buffalo Trace. Again, this is going to be a little bit lower proof for you at 94 proof. And the really cool thing is, if you followed my advice and got the Buffalo Trace White Dog, this is the same distillate that this is. So now, after you tasted the White Dog, you can taste Buffalo Trace, and you can really see how oak changed the original distillate. All right, number 3 on our top 5 bourbons for your $100 beginner bourbon collection is Old Forester Bourbon. It's the 100 proof label. Now we're stepping up a little bit in proof. You're getting a little bit more texture, a little bit more viscosity, but you're also now exploring some different distilleries. So Heaven Hill is going to be a little bit more on the peanut side. When you get into Buffalo Trace, you're going to start to find a little bit more fruitiness in those offerings. And then when you get to Old Forester, you're going to start to pick up more brown sugar and banana notes. So this is where this beginner bourbon collection is really cool, because you're going to be able to decide which distillery you like best, which notes you like best, and it's going to lead you down more offerings from your favorite distillery in the group. So again, number 3 on our list, Old Forester, 100 proof. I believe I bought this bottle for $24. All right, number 4 on our top 5 bourbons for our beginner bourbon collection under $100 is a tried and true brand that's been around for a long time. It is Wild Turkey 101. Again, we're starting to bump up a little bit in proof, but now you're starting to get a lot of complexity in this higher rye bourbon. You're going to get a little bit of peanut. You're going to get some honey. You're also going to get lots of orange spice and some citrus notes from the rye. So you're going to get a little bit more tingling sensation on the tongue. It's going to fight you a little bit more, but this is a fantastic bourbon for your beginner bourbon collection and a must-have. And I can find these usually around $21 here in Illinois. All right, up until this point, all of the bourbons that we have on our list include mash bills where the secondary grain is rye. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, not only did I want to explore several different distilleries, several different tasting notes, but we also wanted to include different mash bills. So now let's talk about a bourbon that the secondary grain is wheat and not rye. So last but certainly not least on our top 5 bourbons for your bourbon collection for under $100 is a wheated mash bill. Very, very popular bourbon for good reason, and that is Maker's Mark whiskey. Maker's Mark comes in at 90 proof, so a little lower proof. And one thing you might find with a wheated bourbon such as Maker's Mark is the edges are a little rounded. It's a little softer. You're going to get some cherry chocolate notes. It is a fan favorite. There's a reason Maker's Mark sells so much, and it is a bourbon you have got to have on your shelf when starting your bourbon collection. So if you're just getting into bourbon and you happen to have found this video, I hope this really helps you explore bourbon. You know, as you get started, there's so many bottles on the shelves, and it's really hard to figure out what to buy and what not to buy. This particular list that I came up with today, I bought for around $105, not including the bonus bottles. But just to recap, if you guys really want to explore and train your palate in the world of bourbon, I highly suggest you getting a White Dog where you have new distillate that hasn't been affected by oak, so you can figure out what that tastes like. And then also get a 100% corn whiskey, since the primary grain in bourbon is corn. That'll really help you pick out those corn notes going forward as you explore bourbon. And then don't be afraid to buy bourbons from many distilleries. They really do taste different, and they all have DNA that is different from other distilleries. But if you start out with that list and just sit down and explore the whiskey, maybe pour yourself an ounce of 2 and do A/B comparisons, you're really going to start to pick up differences in whiskey, and it's going to help you down the road, and it's going to lead you down a long, long rabbit hole. All right, guys, as always, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. If you've been in the bourbon game a little longer, tell me what are your top 5 bourbons for your bourbon collection, for a beginner bourbon collection for around $100. If you're interested in single barrel picks, Whiskey Tornado merch, anything like that, go to whiskeytornado.com. You'll see all about Whiskey Tornado in the channel. Hope this helped you guys decide what to buy and what to leave on the shelves. Until next time, cheers, everybody.